176 straight days of Clippers talk for you guys. How's everybody doing?
Getting strong now.
Are we feeling like that? Clippers have won 12 or 10 of 12.
Getting strong now.
I'm Adam Osland. It's good to be with you guys. With you for about the next hour here. We can take phone calls. 877-520-1150. 877-520-1150 if you want to get on. D. Damari was first here. Will he be first to call in? Will Clay Vaughn be calling in?
Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up. No, put it up, Ben.
Elijah's on time. Decca's in here. People are joining, and we're going to talk about the second unit a little bit today, what we could see tomorrow against the Cleveland Cavaliers as I'm waiting for that injury report. I thought it would have been out by now since the game tips off at 12:30 Pacific time. My guess is there's a few guys that are going to be missing, not just Kawhi Leonard, but we shall see. Why is Deca Fantastic saying no video? You guys can't see me? Huh? Elijah said, I don't understand. Apparently this is translating emojis or something. If you guys want to call in, 877-520-1150 here on Clippers Talk. We've given you 176 straight episodes.
We're going streaking! Yeah!
Alex Webb said, happy Saturday. Thanks for the live timing while my wife makes me finish chores. I don't know why. Deca Fantastic said, no video, but Alex says, we can see. Y'all can't see me. Was that the best opening track on a disc 2 of a double album? Talking about All Eyes on Me. Clippers won in Big E's old borough yesterday. They won by 32 over the Brooklyn Nets. It's a nice victory for this Clippers team. It's a taking care of business type of win. So let's hear some post-game audio because we didn't get to this last night, and Law Murray has a ton of it for us. I'm excited about this. Clippers led by as many as 41 in that ball game. Let's hear, first of all, from Kawhi Leonard in the locker room afterwards. Kawhi ended up with 31 points in 27 minutes. Looked incredible out there. Here was Kawhi speaking with Law Murray.
First thing is this team, obviously, bigger goals probably, but to clinch a winning record for the 14th straight year, obviously you've been on this part of this for the last 6 years. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to your teammates, particularly this year?
You could tell, this organization wants to be competitive. Unfortunate things that happen to me where, some of it falls on, getting deep in the playoffs, but.
Wow. Kawhi bringing up basically saying, part of the reason we haven't gotten to the top of the mountain is because obviously injuries going on with him. I don't know if I've ever heard Kawhi make this point before.
This organization wants to be competitive. Unfortunate things that happen to me where, some of it falls on, getting deep in the playoffs, but it's always a blessing, to have a winning season. These guys have been playing great all year to put us in this position.
He's always crediting the guys and how they played without him this season. Always. It's just Kawhi does not get enough love for his understated leadership.
These guys have been playing great all year to put us in this position. I'm pretty sure the front office enjoys this.
You scored at least 20 in every.
I'm pretty sure the front office enjoys this.
I'm pretty sure the front office enjoys this. That's how I heard it. Is that how you guys heard it? I hadn't reviewed this sound yet. So just wanted to do it live here on Clipper Stock. More from Kawhi with Law Murray postgame.
You scored at least 20 in every game except the game that you get the buzzer beater in. And what are you feeling about how you're playing in March that you maybe didn't feel in January and February?
I mean, obviously, I was playing probably 20 minutes a game. Still getting my feet wet. Have a good summer. So, I mean, that's our main focus.
I think Kawhi is talking louder to talk over the rambunctious locker room talk in the background there. But he said he's still getting his feet wet.
Have a good summer. I was playing probably 20 minutes a game. Still getting my feet wet. Have a good summer. So, I mean, that's our main focus. I want to get to the summer healthy, so I can have a great summer and come in and have a great year overall. That's what I'm banking for. That's what I'm praying for, and hopefully it happens for me.
Wow. So Kawhi there talking about not being able to have a great summer last summer with the swelling in his knee, wanting to be able to get to that point this summer where then he could actually train the way he wants to and hit the ground running to start next season, and mentioning how he's still getting his feet wet this season here. This was from Kawhi post game after the Clippers 132-100 victory in Brooklyn last night.
Hopefully it happens for me.
Do you expect to play Sunday?
Yeah, I do. I want to finish it out. We'll see what medical says. I've been pushing to play every game, more minutes. I had an unfortunate pass, so I'm just trying to do whatever to take me, like I said, to this offseason healthy. And, that's my main focus.
Did you guys hear that? Kawhi's been pushing to play, but it's up to medical. As I check Clippers PR to see if we got an update on the injury report for tomorrow. Still waiting on that. Great questions here from Law Murray.
Hopefully it happens for me.
Do you expect to play Sunday?
Yeah, I do. I want to finish it out. We'll see what medical says. I've been pushing to play every game, more minutes.
Been pushing to play every game, more minutes. You got to save guys from themselves, though.
I had an unfortunate pass, so I'm just trying to do whatever to take me, like I said, into this offseason healthy. And, that's my main focus.
Kawhi wants to get to the offseason healthy. Obviously, that starts with getting to the playoffs healthy and having a healthy playoff run. So it all goes together. But interesting to hear him talk more about this. He mentioned it recently, too. The priority, the focus, just have a healthy Kawhi in the playoffs, and then that means he can have a healthy offseason. He can do his usual training. That's always big for guys when they come back from injuries. It's like they don't look the same typically the first year because they haven't been able to train and do what they normally do in the offseason.
And finally, that starting lineup, man, with Chris, Norm, Zoo, and James, how do you feel like it's progressing? What's the next step for the five of you all together?
Obviously, just playing more together. That's how you gel, figure out who likes what, which weaknesses are when it's your turn to do something on the floor. So just playing more, just playing hard. That's how we got to this point.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No.
All right.
I want to check the lineup data, the starting lineup right now, with Chris Dunn in there next to Kawhi, Norm, James, Big Zoo. I want to see where we're at here, because there's another lineup I want to look up in just a second. So I didn't do this earlier. Scouring right now to find what the data is, and it looks like I got it. So They have played 12 games together, 157 minutes total, with James Harden on the floor next to Kawhi, Norman Powell, Chris Dunn, and Ivica Zubac. And that seems to be the starting lineup right now. They have an offensive rating of 117.1, a defensive rating of 111.4. So, for context, you look at the best offensive rating in the NBA this season, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers at 121.5. The Clippers starting lineup is at 117.1. That would put them around 5th or 6th best when you go overall team offensive rating. Defensive rating with this starting lineup, 111.4. So the best defensive rating in the NBA is 106.1. 111.4 is about 7th or 8th best. So it's good. It's only 157 minutes. It's a plus net rating of 5.7. It's not as good as this starting lineup with this lineup data. If you put Derek Jones in instead of Chris Dunn, next to Harden, next to Kawhi, next to Norman Powell, next to Ivica Zubac, we've gotten 184 minutes with those guys. They have an offensive rating of 125.4. They have a defensive rating of 101.8, a plus 23.6 net rating. Now, Coach Lue has not committed, or has at least said that he's going away from matchup-dependent starting lineups on whether or not he wants to start Dunn or Derek Jones Jr. But going off what we've seen the last few weeks, it seems like they're pretty set on Chris Dunn in the starting lineup over DJ. And DJ coming off the bench, and he's been very good there. But the starting lineup data with DJ out there, a net rating of plus 23.6 compared to a net rating of plus 5.7, and you've had more minutes with that lineup versus the Chris Dunn next to the starters lineup. I don't know. It's something to watch. I get it in theory. Chris Dunn, more of a defensive specialist guy, but they have a better defensive rating with that group with DJ significantly. That's interesting to me. Johnny, thank you for the super chat. Somebody else gave me one earlier. Appreciate you guys. That was Elijah. Always appreciative of the super chats in here. Oh, you guys are asking for the I forgot I had the soundbite from Kawhi when I'm looking at the numbers.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
Numbers say they've had more minutes with DJ in the starting lineup next to the big four and more success with those guys by a pretty wide margin. An offensive rating of 125.4 as opposed to an offensive rating with Chris Dunn, 117.1, and a defensive rating of 101.8 with DJ as opposed to 111.4 with Dunn. Is the bench lineup so good, that second unit that they've been trying out with DJ in there next to Bogey, next to Simmons, next to Batum, next to Kawhi, that you don't want to disrupt that? I'm wondering. Is that the issue here? I want to find that lineup data to confirm. I don't think we've gotten it for many minutes. Somebody hit me up in the chat last night or in the comments section, and they gave me the number, but I have to confirm it for myself because it was pretty outrageous. And I wasn't sure if that was accurate or not. Outrageous in a good way. Does anybody have that second unit lineup data with Kawhi next to DJ, next to Simmons, next to Batum, next to Bogey? That's what I'm looking for right here. I don't think they played heavy minutes yet, but I'm looking for it right now. because last night it looked really good. Pretty good. It looked really good to start the fourth quarter against the Knicks. So I'm trying to gather more information there, and I got it. Well, that person was right. They played 22 minutes together. This is Nico, Kawhi, Bogey, Ben Simmons, and Derek Jones Jr. This seems to be the rotation that Coach Lue likes, and for good reason. They've only played 22 minutes together. This seems to be the new second unit lineup with Kawhi. They have an offensive rating of 147.5, a defensive rating of 102.4, and a net rating of 45.1. That is outrageous.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
It's only 22 minutes. It's not going to hold. But is there something to it? I think so. I think you got to keep exploring that. You've got a plus 45.1 net rating.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
Okay. I do wonder about that starting lineup, though. With Dunn instead of DJ. The numbers lean pretty significantly in DJ's favor of being next to those guys. I don't think Coach Lue is completely married to either one. But the numbers say, with a more significant sample size, not by much, but by about 20 minutes, that they're better with DJ next to Kawhi, Harden, Norm, Zoo. But if you have this second unit that is killer with DJ next to Kawhi, Batum, Bogey, Ben Simmons, I see the logic. Starting lineups aren't everything, by the way. It's about closing lineups, and we do over-analysis all the time with who should be starting. We do. Just want to point this out. I am definitely guilty of that. But it's interesting. It's not nothing. That's for sure. So, Law talked with Kawhi about March and how he's had 12 20-point games in March, at least getting to 20. In Kawhi's career, most games with 20 points in a month. Kawhi, if you're wondering what the numbers say.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
So 12 in the month of March, and we're not done yet, would tie the most 20-point games he's had in a month in his career with January of 2021, with December of 2018. So when he was a Raptor, he had 12 20-point games there. With November of 2016, when he was a Spur, he had 12 20-point games in that month. What's happening right now with Kawhi and the scoring outburst we have seen and just the availability, I know that's part of these numbers, really. It's great to see. If you guys want to call in, 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150. If you guys want to get on Clippers Talk here, tell me what you think about some of the lineup data I just pulled. What do the numbers say?
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
I just went through it. Let's hear more. What do the players and what does Coach Lue say post-game after their victory last night in Brooklyn? Here was James Harden in the locker room with Law Murray of The Athletic.
All right. First of all, what does it mean to you and your teammates to get a 14th, to clinch a 14th straight winning season for this franchise, especially with the expectations? 14 straight winning seasons. Y'all clinched the winning record for the season tonight. And,
No, I expect to have a winning season every year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I expect a winning season every year. I don't know. It's only a second season with the Clippers.
Especially with the expectations. 14 straight winning seasons. Y'all clinched the winning record for the season tonight. And,
No, I expect to have a winning season every year. I don't know.
Yeah. You made your Clippers debut in New York.
He's not lying. If he's healthy, his teams always make the playoffs. This is James Harden's career. This is how it goes.
The expectations. 14 straight winning seasons. Y'all clinched the winning record for the season tonight. And,
No, I expect to have a winning season every year. I don't know.
Yeah. You made your Clippers debut in New York last year, like full circle moment, kind of like, how do you feel now about where you're at compared to when you were first putting the uniform on for this team last season?
Different team, me just way more comfortable. Knowing what I'm doing.
Kawhi scored like 20 points in every game except that Kings game where you had the buzzer beater. Like, what have you seen from him that perhaps you didn't, he needed to get to after January and February?
Just being out on the floor, man. Just working our way ourselves and getting in shape is different than actually playing NBA basketball. So, he just needed to get a couple of reps in a couple of games and he did that.
And finally, obviously, y'all did y'all work early, got to sit in the fourth quarter. What did you think of Patty, going on for his 14-point?
That's what it's about. We all in this thing together. So just like Patty cheers for us, we cheer for him. It was great, and he ran it off. He did what Patty does, man. He's been doing it for a very long time, so we're just happy to see him.
Anything else you want to add about this road trip? All right, thank you.
So there was James Harden. It was cool to see Patty Mills go off like that. 14 points in 7 minutes. 3 of 4 from distance. 5 of 5 from the free throw line. In fact, you know what? Let's hear from Patty Mills post game, since he brought him up there. I got to hear from Patty Mills. He spoke with Christina Pink, and my understanding was he just opened a bar in Brooklyn. I think he'll get some promotion going here for it, but it's a fun conversation. Let me see if I can find it here, guys. Patty Mills post game last night. Not often a guy comes in garbage time minutes and ends up doing the post game interview. And guys were cheering him on. Kawhi was standing up. You don't always see that stuff. Like these guys, they have great camaraderie. They have great chemistry out there. Here was Patty Mills post game.
Brian, Patty, another Clipper W, a great performance from you here in the end. But we need to know, after party, old mates. What do we got to do to get in?
For a celebration win, go to Old Mates for a nice cold icy beer.
Old Mates is his place.
You can get chicken snitty with chips, some fish and chips. You can get some meat pies as well, sausage rolls. Dessert, you can get pavlova as well. So all the Aussie pub favorites.
Now, Brian and Coach Fratello, we're wondering, do they need a coupon to get in, or will there be someone stopping them at the door?
Nah, they can just say they know someone from the Clippers.
Now, Patty, you told me earlier that it opens at 4 and then closes when the vibes end. But how do we gauge the vibes? Because you always have the vibe.
Vibe gauge is always on, and you just got to follow it. But the vibe definitely going to Friday night, New York City, Aussie pub, vibes are high for sure.
Now, I saw you getting a lot of love from guys within this Nets organization. You're beloved everywhere you go. Why do you think that you seem to have the same presence whatever locker room you're in?
I got no idea. At all. I don't know what they're, it's just enjoying the journey, I think, and, being present every time and making the most of it and do it with fun, do it with laughter, enjoy what you do, and I think it comes back around.
All right. Thank you so much, Patty.
Thank you.
Patty Mills is beloved wherever he goes. Great locker room guy. Vibes gauge, always on. Speaking of, let's bring on Jonathan Ng from the chat here on Clippers Talk. I saw Jonathan getting into it with yawning tears, so I said, hey, guys, call in. You can work it out here, live on the show. Jonathan, what's the crux of the argument here? And yawning tears, call in. 877-520-1150. Pull up.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got in the chat late, but I'm just addressing Yanni Tears' point. Like, I don't even know what his point is, but like he's saying something about 10-man rotations. I was trying to make the case that Amir is getting cut in the playoffs, and like I think he mentioned something about off-ball movement, cutting like outside of Derrick Jones Jr. and I forgot who else I said in the chat earlier, but like we don't have a ton of guys who are that great at cutting off ball, especially in the half court.
Yeah.
And then like we need to have like maybe one or two of like Harden, Kawhi, and Zoo on the floor at all times, like especially in the playoffs, because they command a double team. And then like in playoff basketball, you're trying to create matchups in general to make the opposing team pay for doubling off their best players. So I mean that's just how playoff basketball works. Is you're, especially with the Ty Lue coach team, like you're trying to match up as much as possible.
So wait, are you saying Amir should be in the rotation, or it makes sense that he's out of the
No,
rotation?
No, it makes sense he's out of the rotation. Like, so my thing was, I think had Amir's defense not like fallen off a cliff the last few months, I think I could have made the case for him being the ninth man. Like, I think you were saying, right, that Dunn's lack of offense and his just his defense, his plus on the defense outweighs his negative on offense right now.
Right.
But in the playoffs, like if his offense becomes a liability, Amir may get an opportunity at some point in the playoffs.
I agree.
And that's just my thought on it. Like,
hold on, Jonathan.
Is
somebody else is calling in. I want to see if it's Yawning Tears. 310. You're on Clippers Talk.
Tears.
It's Yawning Tears?
Hello? Yeah.
Wow. Well, now you guys can hash this out. Now you guys can hash this out. I guess we're here for the smoke. You guys are running up the chimney for it. All right. So how about we do it
if you want? I'm happy to give him the floor and let him say what he has to say.
I'll try to moderate. So Jonathan Ng had at least 30 seconds there to explain his side. Yawning, you give us your opening statement, and we'll see if we can find some common ground or if you guys are going to have to go back and forth and hash this out. Yawning, state your point.
Sure. So, in my opinion, first off, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat.
Hey, easy, man. I got 2 cats. How dare you?
Personally, my opinion, I'm of the preference to have just like a simplified lineup and not mixing up players where they're like trying to figure out chemistry. I'd rather keep the players consistent and have a mix up of different plays. Like, I'm a believer in ball movement and passing, and I feel like Ben can do that. Bogey can do that. There's plenty of screening. There's plenty of shooting. I think we have plenty of offense, and we're talking about the bench here. This is not like we're going against all-star defense here. This is like bench minutes for bench talent, and I think it works out perfectly. I don't think you need to mix it up. I think it gives everyone in the starting lineup a fair amount of rest, and I just think it simplifies it. So that's pretty much my point.
Are you arguing that Amir should be in the rotation in the playoffs?
Yes.
All right, Jonathan.
10-man rotation.
You want a 10-man rotation. Jonathan, you want to respond?
Yeah, in the playoffs, the Kawhi, Harden, and Zoo are going to be each playing 40 minutes. So you're going to have, I don't know, however many, 8 minutes for those positions that are going to be split between like 6 guys or 6-7 guys or something like that. So like there's the 10-man rotation. Well, it's nice. Like it's going to be trimmed to 9 and maybe even an 8-man rotation, depending on how Dunn is in the playoffs. So like and for the consistency, right, and the chemistry, it points more to the big guns getting more minutes. So there's not a lot of room to have that mix and match up.
Yawning, do you have a rebuttal to?
I do have a rebuttal.
His minutes crunch.
And I think that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. So basically, I see it as, okay, give the 8 minutes in the first quarter to the starting lineup, 10 minutes. The next 2 minutes in the starting lineup is the bench. Then you have the break at the quarter for more rest, 2 more minutes in the second quarter for the bench. That's 4 minutes. Then the starting unit comes back in. Simplify. Then do the same thing in the second half. And it breaks it up nicely. You're not asking a lot from these bench guys. They're just here to fill in for a little bit of time. Give your guys rest. They do plenty. They're fine. They can shoot. They can do plenty we're talking about the bench here. just make it simple. Get everyone the rest and bring in the unit. It's fine.
Okay, Yachting, let me point something out, though, here. I'll try to mediate a little bit. I'm not trying to take sides, but I do have
No, it's fine. I understand.
I do have a preference. They're not doing hockey line shifts where it's just an all-bench unit out there. It's going to be likely what we've been seeing with Kawhi next to Bogey, next to DJ, next to Batum, next to Ben Simmons. So there's staggering going on. It's not just starters for 10 minutes, bench for 2 minutes, because the other team's not going to do that. Like, they don't have some handshake agreement where everybody just brings in bench units in the playoffs. Like, you're mixing and matching a lot.
So that's totally fine. I sort of don't. I do and I don't. It's kind of nuanced. I do and I don't care what the other team does, but I'm going to play my game, and I'm fine with a hockey shift because I have everything I need for my bench time. Like, if it's DJ or Dunn, they can take whoever starter on the other team is still in. That's fine. I don't care. I'm going to give my guys rest. Wait, hold on. Let me just say this real quick.
All right.
I understand what they have been doing with the staggering. I understand that. Like, and I'm not like here to debate that that's what they have or haven't. I just disagree. I think what they should do is just keep it simple. Let your guys build up crazy chemistry together and make the other teams have to adjust. If you're constantly having to adjust, that means you're losing. You create the chemistry, you be the winning team, and you set the standard. That's how I see it personally.
Well, there is such
Can
a thing
I get
as
in on this?
yeah. Jonathan, let me say one thing and then you can jump in. There is such a thing as a talent disadvantage. Like, you can build up all the chemistry you want. First of all, there's 9 games left. And I just mentioned some of the lineup data, and those guys haven't played together that much because obviously Kawhi has been out throughout much of the season. And you're saying, oh, with an all bench unit, like, there's not enough time to build up crazy chemistry. You can have all the crazy chemistry you want. If the Denver Nuggets are like, yeah, that's cool if you guys want to go with this hockey line shift, we're going to keep Jokic out there right now, you're going to lose those minutes. I don't care how much chemistry you have built up. But Jonathan, continue.
Yeah, to piggyback off, like, Adam basically made my point for me. Like, just because for United Tears, if you think that's what Ty should do, that in reality, that's not what he's going to do. Like, the other team's going to keep their starters in, and like the whole hockey line change makes absolutely no sense because they're going to get killed by the other team's starters. So, like, that's why there's going to be staggering, because in the playoffs, you want to keep your best players on the floor for as much time as possible, whether it's 1, 2, or all 3 of them. So, like, the bench is only there to give them a spell. So, but like, that's literally what it is. This isn't the regular season, because like, each game in the playoffs, each game matters. Whereas the regular season, like, someone plays bad for like maybe a game or two, like, it's not the end all be all. But in the playoffs, each game, each possession matters.
Yachting?
Yeah. So I haven't disagreed about the amount of minutes. That's what I said. This is bench minutes. It's not that many minutes. And as far as, let's say, for example, Denver, they keep Jokic in, I'm fine with that. Ben can slow him down enough for the amount of time that he's in. I'm not concerned about that. We have still the majority of time of our starters in the game. That's what matters the most. If we have Dunn or DJ and Ben and even Batum and Coffey is not that bad. I'm not like concerned with Coffey on defense. Like, he's fine. Let's call him average, whatever. It's fine for the amount of time they're in. I don't even care what starters the other team has in. They're going to be gassed at that point as well after playing our starters. I'm fine with that. And then when our starters come back in, it's a huge swing. I'm totally fine with the way it would go that way, in my opinion.
You have any evidence that Ben can slow down Jokic?
I mean, I didn't say stop him. I think
slow down.
He's not going to be the best or the worst, but we're talking 4 minutes. Like, Jokic can lose the whole time, and then what happens when Jokic goes out and our starters are in?
So you're saying you're going to try to lean heavy on your starters against their bench guys, and you're okay with just mixing and matching and losing the minutes against their starters when you have your own bench out there?
So, okay, so let's say it evens out, like their stars are going against our bench, our stars are going against their bench, whatever. But the thing that's consistent with us is that we have our guys together each time, and they build up their chemistry. So that continues every game to get better with the practice that they get together. Instead of you're mixing our players up, it's like, how can they find a rhythm? I'd rather mix up our plays, let our guys get to know each other better, and like if you want to say there's a mismatch, it's going to go the other way as well, you know. So that's my opinion.
Sorry, that's not how it works.
I mean,
like in the playoffs, Ty's gonna match. Like Ty's gonna line up Zoo's minutes with when Joker's on the floor. Like when Joker comes off, Zoo will come off. When Joker's on,
I'm not
Zoo's coming
debating
back
what
on.
Ty will do. I just want to make that clear. I know like he doesn't necessarily do this. I'm just giving my opinion what I personally think should be done.
Like no coach is going to do that. Like thinking
Yeah,
that
no coach is gonna do that.
you're going to get your starters against their full 5-man bench unit. Like they're not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
I wouldn't even do that if I was coaching a team. I wouldn't even do that.
I still don't really see the point that you're trying to make, because you're saying for some reason when their mismatch is better than our mismatch, to me that evens out. We're still keeping the minutes solid for our starters. They're still getting the amount of time that we need them to get. I don't see why you think for some reason when their starters in or against our bench, it's going to be better than when our starters in against their bench. It doesn't. That evens out to me. That's not an issue.
But they're not going to. I'm going to tell you the reality of the situation. They're not going to throw out a 5-man bench unit. So you're never going to have
it doesn't
just
matter.
your starters against just their bench players.
It doesn't matter what they do. It's always going to be a flip of the coin. That's what I'm trying to say.
What?
If they can mismatch,
I don't understand how
mix
it's a
it up
flip of a
all they
coin.
want. We always have some defenders in the game. We always have decent, like DJ or Dunn. Like they don't have to be at the same time. Their best player we can have DJ on their best player, Dunn on their. I mean, like Dunn on Jokic obviously is not what I'm talking about here, but it's enough to slow them down. We're talking about bench minutes. This isn't like gonna make or break. That it's gonna be enough, and I just think the chemistry is worth it, in my opinion.
Here's what I'll tell you. First of all, again, how are you building up all that chemistry in 9 games where we just found out, as expected, Kawhi's not going to be playing tomorrow? So you're not going to have consistent rotations throughout the final 9 games of the season. And even if you did, it's only 9 games. So the whole chemistry argument, like we're going to out chemistry them, and that's going to be the difference. There's not enough time for that. Also, to act like, I think Yanni Tears, to be fair, to act like, oh, it's only 4 minutes. Like you can lose a game in 4 minutes. Like you can lose those minutes. How do you think they lost to the OKC Thunder the other night? They lost the non-SGA minutes. They got ambushed to start the second quarter. That was the game. That's it.
I mean, on the flip side, that almost proves my point as well, because I feel like you guys are looking at this like our bench is like the worst in the league. I mean, in my opinion, we have one of the best benches in the league. This isn't like a crazy drop off here. And I just think, and like, we're not like, I'm not necessarily like out chemistrying the other team. What I'm looking at is our chemistry versus our chemistry yesterday. It's more than we would have otherwise. It's like, I mean, ideally, what I've liked this to be in the beginning of the season and have no injuries. Obviously, we can't ask for that. We can't go back in time. But I still think this would be the best route to go, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I'm sorry. Our bench against any other team starters is going to get obliterated because we can't score enough. So, like, literally, like, if you have Ben Simmons and Dunn on the floor, like, we're very offensively challenged, and like. That's just the reality of the situation.
I just think you're like trying to come up with the worst situation to prove that this won't work, and that's not like the reality of the situation.
No. The reality is if you put in a full bench lineup against another team's starters, right? Like say we're going against the Nuggets. Nuggets are literally playing Joker and Murray. No, they're gonna play Joker and Murray. Maybe most, if not all, the first quarter, and they're gonna stagger, and then we put in a two.
Okay, so 2 minutes in the first quarter.
They're gonna lose it. So I just use this other example, right?
Like 2 possessions we're talking about.
It's not.
No, I use this other example, like against the Knicks the other day, right? And I kept chiming in on this in the post-game talk, like from I think it was like the 4.5 minute ish. It was like slightly under 5 minutes, all the way down to I think it was like 1:47 left. We lost like our 20-point lead got cut down to like I think it was like 10 because we were playing very unserious basketball. Like the guys like that. It looked like by their body language, the game was over, but the Knicks kept playing hard, and I was panicking a little bit because you get it down to a 10-point game with like slightly under 2 minutes left. Like you saw what happened with the Bulls and the Lakers the other day. Like crazy stuff has happened before, and it's just like you can't play like that. You have to keep playing hard until the game is out of reach. Because 5 minutes left in the game, there's still a ton of time left. And a ton of crazy things can happen. So it's just some super unserious basketball.
I just think all the points you just made are not really relevant to the discussion we're talking about right here. I mean, if you want to say, okay, Denver, they keep their starters in the entire first quarter. We took ours out with 2 minutes left. You're basically trying to say that, you're making the argument that, Denver's going to be better because they're playing their starters more minutes. That's not what we're talking about here. You got to keep the variables equal to make a fair conversation here. This is if they're keeping their players in, they have to come out at some point. Then our players are going to have the advantage. That to me breaks even. I'm not talking about that. This is about building chemistry and having the players know where they are, the back of their hand. That there's a serious advantage when you have that. Look at Boston. They keep their lineup for the most part the same, and they know each other so well. And I just think there's a huge value to that.
I don't think I don't think anyone's arguing that there isn't value to chemistry. I think we're arguing that teams are never going to throw. No one's doing 5-man bench lineups in the NBA. No one's doing these hockey shifts, and it doesn't make sense to.
Yeah, Doc Rivers used to do hockey shifts all the time, and we got destroyed in those bench lineups. All Clipper fans were pissed that Doc was doing that.
Yeah, good teams.
Just because it hasn't worked doesn't mean it can't work. And
this is fair in theory.
Because every team isn't doing it. They may not have the deep bench that we have. I'm not our 5.
You're saying deep bench. Who is scoring? How are they scoring with that 5-man bench unit?
Bogey can shoot. DJ can shoot. Batum can shoot. Coffey can shoot. And Ben can distribute. There's plenty. They're plenty to go around. I mean,
there's those guys aren't exactly creating for themselves. Outside of
why I promote ball movement and player movement. You don't need to be we don't need ISO guys all the time. I mean,
in my
opinion,
those guys rely on other people creating open shots and good looks for them. You have to create advantages still.
I mean,
you want to watch them just swinging around the perimeter while. Sorry. Keep going.
Have you ever watched the Ty Lue team? I'm like, have you seen the Ty Lue? In the last
I'm not arguing with what Ty Lue does. I know. I just don't agree with it personally.
All right. Well, let me. You guys, this has been civil, and I appreciate you both. Can I play the audio pregame from Law Murray talking about the decision to have Amir Coffey out of the playoff rotation, and then we can continue from there?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
All right. And I do appreciate both you guys calling in. I think it's interesting, and I've always wanted to do some type of format like this, call it a Clippers Talk street fight. It's all right. I want you to hear from La Murray. This was pregame yesterday.
What would you say to somebody who's scratching their head and wondering why a guy who is shooting 41% from 3 on the season and Amir Coffey is the odd man out?
It's comes down to he's guy 10 in a 9-man rotation. It's who else are you going to take out? if you look at the Clippers roster and look at everybody who's played more than 12 minutes per game, as of right now, all of them have a positive plus minus, except for the guys who are no longer on the team or the guys who are no longer in the rotation. And Amir is in that latter group. He did not have a positive plus minus considering the minutes that he was playing. Now you got 9 guys who all have positive plus minuses from their time with the Clippers this season. It's not even about Amir Coffey. It's about he's behind 9 guys.
Is part of this also, I mean, when they're healthy, what Amir provides is some scoring out there. He can get in transition, but he doesn't necessarily offer a ton else. And if they're healthy, they got plenty of guys who can score. Meanwhile, Bogey, even if he's not scoring, he can still help create.
Exactly. Like Amir is a player who you gotta be considerate of who he's guarding. You have to be considerate of who he's on the floor because he's not a creator. He's obviously a decent creator for a guy who is a 5th option per se. He can hit the 3, but he doesn't generate his own shot as well. Like he has his comfort areas on the floor, that pull up elbow midi per se, the fade in the paint. He's a damn good player. If he's your 10th guy, he's a damn good 10th guy. That's why Tyronn Lue said after the game Wednesday night that dude's going to get paid this offseason. I don't anticipate that the Clippers are going to be the team to pay him. So we talk about context to these things. I know people might have seen, the quotes hanging around. Maybe they shared the video or whatever. Like, Amir is probably going to start Sunday. It's probably because a bunch of these dudes, well, not a bunch. I don't want to overstate it. But we know that it's a back-to-back, and we know who doesn't play on back-to-backs. Someone's going to start. Someone's going to play. So, yeah, I think you need to prepare for Sunday being an early game after a flight. They're not leaving until Saturday afternoon to go to Cleveland. That means that guys are going to try and take care of this business in Barclays Center, and then they're going to enjoy New York because they ain't in a rush to get out of here. They're going to get on a flight, and the dudes who they're not counting on playing ain't going to be playing Sunday. They're going to get their rest and chill and then get ready for Monday night, full squad in Orlando. Adam, you can clip that one off. So, I think that's
How'd you know?
I think that's what's going to be what's important. Amir in this current situation, he's guy 10 in a 9-man rotation. When guys are missing time, Amir's still going to play and be asked to play as well as he's expected to play. And when it comes to this offseason, he's a free agent on a team that, as you see, is pretty damn deep right now. Amir, congratulations. Go get your bag, more than likely. You always got a home here. You always going to be appreciative, but your value probably will be increased somewhere else as opposed to here. Maybe that's getting ahead of ourselves a little much, but y'all, hey, T. Lue said it, not me.
All right. There was Lyle Murray pregame yesterday talking about Amir Coffey, and yes, he's starting tomorrow, and the injury report's out, and Kawhi Leonard is out of that ball game as expected. There's still 3 more back-to-backs, including tomorrow and then in Orlando on Monday. Yanni Tears, what do you disagree with what Law just said there?
Actually, I love what he said as far as him being the 10th man. I'm fine with that. I think, and he said it, he's a great 10th man. So I don't have a problem with that. I'm still on the boat of just like keeping it simple, giving everyone equal amount of reps, not mixing and matching where it's getting confusing. And that's basically it. I'm trying to simplify it. I mean,
okay.
I don't know. I don't think he said anything. I mean, yeah, I guess it's just a 10-man versus 9-man thing. I just like it just seems like it gets complicated and confusing at all.
But let me ask you this. Why is your way better than just building up chemistry with Kawhi next to these second unit guys? And I ran the numbers earlier. It's only 22 minutes, but they're plus damn near 45 net rating. Like, why not just let them build up that chemistry next to Kawhi?
I mean, so basically Kawhi's building chemistry with them, and then so at some point Kawhi comes out and somebody from the bench is building chemistry with the starters. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm saying with what we've seen from the second unit and how they've been doing this, it looks like they have a real start of second quarter, second unit of Kawhi leading them next to Bogey,
next to DJ, Batum, and Ben Simmons. You're talking about chemistry, and what about chemistry? It's like, well, they're consistently running that out there. Why not just build up chemistry with 4 bench guys next to Kawhi?
I mean, I guess like to me, that's like, well, let's why not run Kawhi 48 minutes? And I would like, if he could do that and if that worked, obviously that'd be amazing. But like, he's got to rest at some point. So then
No.
you
But
got the other side of it.
but he's coming out with like 3 minutes left in the first quarter, and then he's starting the second quarter with those guys. That's what we've been seeing.
I mean, so basically, like, I'm trying to make it simple. Like, okay, if you have 2 versions, but both versions, it's the same amount of minutes for Kawhi, right? I would just rather him be with the same guys and them become like an A+ team, just learning and learning, like they can get a ton of plays that they know so well with each other, versus now you're just like mixing them and matching with different players. And it's hard to like, that's a lot more to learn and to practice and to get good with. It just like, I don't know. I'd rather like, cause then, like I said, when he comes out, someone from the bench has to go in with the starters, and that's mixing and matching as well. And they're getting confused. So I don't know. I just think it overcomplicates the situation. And if you keep it simple, let people focus on the plays and knowing where the guys are better. That's just how I see it.
Jonathan, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, so what the purpose of Kawhi leading the second unit in the second quarter is he's basically the focal point of the offense. So that way, if Kawhi gets double teamed, like you can do the swing, and Bogey is going to be able to facilitate. He's basically the backup point guard at this point. So you got that. And then when Kawhi comes out, like if I think it's Derrick Jones Jr., either Derrick Jones Jr. or Nico coming in to sub either Dunn or Kawhi out. So like you still have Harden and Zoo. So you still have the Harden Zoo pick and roll as a fallback, and you got another great shooter coming in. So like Kawhi is helpful, but then you still got the core of the offense to be able to run through when Kawhi sits, and then that's why you stagger, because there's less of a drop off in if one of your big guns goes out versus like you have 2 of them. Like I think we saw like Harden lead full bench lineup support, and that was a little rough because Harden's trying to do too much of his little ISO dance, and because none of the other guys are a threat, like that's where it gets hard. Whereas if you have Kawhi in, like he's basically getting to a spot at the elbow, and like you can run your offense out of the elbow, and you can do a kick out, or you can do a high man, low man, dump off. So like there's plenty of options, but because Harden is straight doing his dance on the perimeter, like everybody's going to be focused on him, and Harden's lack of burst when he gets tired is a real thing. So
yeah, I think you're making a good point that if you always have Kawhi or you always have James Harden in, you have some foundational things to run your offense with. Where if you just go full bench lineup, like it's just going to be a lot of random basketball, and they may get blitzed with a 10-0 run in 2 minutes. It could really happen. It has happened, but because Yanning, I would say you don't want to. I get what you're saying about building up chemistry and not overcomplicating it. I think Coach Lue might argue, yeah, we're taking it down to 9 guys, and that's a part of not overcomplicating it. With just a 9-man rotation, playing your best 9 guys.
I mean, it's kind of funny how it works, and it's kind of like less is more with it when you say that. But like in my opinion, I do think more is less in this situation. I just think it forces you to mix things up when you go 9, and I just don't like that. I just think it gets confusing, and I know like anything's possible. Heck, the starters could go 0-10 like versus the others. Anything's possible, and it can happen with just a full bench for sure. But I like our bench, and I feel like they can hold it down plenty enough. Like it's not going to be like a crazy drop. I mean, like it's kind of a drop off from our starting unit just because our starters are so good. But like I still feel pretty damn good about our bench to hold it down enough. and to give everybody equal amount of rest. And yeah, I don't know. I just think there's still like options with our full bench, and like when you keep the starters in all together, they can take turns when who's doing the offense, whatever, they'll find the open man, however they want to do it. And then so they on defense, they can go all out because they all have the energy and like they can really hold the other team down. And then our bench comes in, and it's like, since you don't know who the number one guy is, like if you had Harden with the bench, you don't know where it's going to come from. So that kind of keeps the other team guessing in a way as well. So I really don't have a problem with it. I think it totally worked that way. It just simplifies it. It makes it simple for the guys, I think, so, and then they can perfect it. When something is like simple, it's like being, like instead of a jack of all trades, it's a master of one. They can perfect what they're doing because they're with the same guys all the time. They can like master some plays, add another play, master it, add another play, master it. That's how I see it.
I just don't know who's going to be initiating or creating offense for others. Like in theory,
Well,
Ben would.
Bogey's pretty good at that. I feel like Ben can bring up the ball.
He's good with
fast
it.
break.
Okay, I get what you're saying. He would be the point guard in essence there, and Ben would help too. But he's good with doing it next to Ivica Zubac because now you have a system. Now you have two guys that can run pick and roll. I don't know. I think they'd be asking themselves the same question. While you're saying the advantage is the defense doesn't know where the offense is coming from. I think the offense would be wondering where it's coming from with an all 5-man bench unit.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I've seen actually Bogey and Ben run screen pick and rolls with each other. And in a way, it's kind of similar to Zoo because neither Zoo Zoo is like, he's approaching that mid range with his lob, but they're not really popping either of those guys in a pick and roll. So it is sort of similar, and they're just both smart IQ guys, and they can find whenever they're doing a pick and roll, because I've seen them go back and forth on pick and rolls almost more than Zoo does. It's like pretty interesting. And then once that becomes like a disadvantage for the defense, other defenders are watching that to try and cover and help, and that's when somebody can cut in like an Amir or Batum's open for the three. So I feel like there's still plenty of ways they can score. I'm not like as concerned about it. And like I said, this is for limited minutes, so it's not like as concerning for me. I don't know. I just think it's worth it to keep it simple and create like really push up that chemistry to like a championship level. I think that's what you need.
I think the only way this works is if the other team also says, hey, we'll go 10 deep too, and we'll only run our backups against your starters, and we'll play nice like that, and we'll see whose starters crush the backups more and playing everyone equal minutes. It's just, I get what you're saying to a degree, but this is all kind of theoretical because it's not going to happen because nobody's going to run a 5-man.
Yeah, I got a point too, Adam. Ben Simmons is not a threat to score right now. Like that's just the reality of it. Like he's been slightly more aggressive lately, but like he's not giving you 10 to 15 points a game. Like if he was giving you 10 to 15 points a game in the second unit, sure. Like then he could spell Zoo for more minutes or like have more of a role. But like outside of that, like as Adam was saying, like you double bogey, like your team is in trouble if you're running an all bench lineup because no one else on the floor is able to create anything for anybody or themselves.
I'm not asking 10 to 15 points from Ben, and if they double bogey, he's a pretty good passer. I think that just leaves Amir or Batum or DJ open for a shot, and they can shoot it. I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys keeping it civil. Unfortunately, it didn't turn into the outsiders level of street fight that I was hoping for, but I am glad we can all get along. And you guys are great, and I appreciate you guys always in the chat. Good discussion. Everybody got
Bastion.
If Bastion Schweinsteiger ever actually calls in, he just likes to troll there. That's where he's at his best. That could be a different type of conversation, but I think it was fair and balanced. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for calling in.
Appreciate the time.
Good chat, Yanni. Appreciate it, Adam.
Yep.
Yawning Tears, Jonathan Ing there calling in 877-520-1150 if anybody else wants to join the conversation. But I do want to hear all this post-game audio from last night. because I'm always listening to it and looking for nuggets and understanding and thought process of where this team is going. But here was more from Coach Lue, speaking with La Murray post-game after the Clippers' 32-point victory over the Brooklyn Nets.
You got something? Thank you. See you right. All right, first off, that's 42 wins, and that clinches a winning season for the 14th year in a row. Big mark for the franchise, and no team has more consecutive winning seasons in the NBA than you guys. So what does that mean to you, especially considering where this team was and expected to be entering this year?
It means a lot. It just says a lot about this group. No matter who's on the floor, we're going to compete to win games. And, it's been everybody. Everybody stepped up in the absence of Norm, missed a lot of games. Kawhi's missed a lot of games, and so guys are stepping up every single night, and so it's good to see. Like I said, I think being picked to win 35 games, to have 42 wins with 9 games left, just says a lot about our group in the locker room.
Also says a lot about the coaching staff. I know a lot of you hating on Coach Lue. I think he has done another great job maximizing the talent on this team. Yes, Jeff Van Gundy's been great too. B. Shaw, everybody. But, of course, he's not taking any credit. He's giving it to the players, but I'm going to throw some back at him.
We had the Nets were up by 1 at the end of the first quarter. You saw the game went over the next 2 quarters. What do you feel like was the key to turning the game around the way that you did?
I thought just getting used to their pace, how they run, how fast they come off screens, and the pace they play with in the half court. That was one. And then 2, how they was playing us defensively. Like, we got to understand, like, our guys did a good job of just, if they fired, making the right play. If they double team, making the right play. If they blitz, making the right play. And so once we kind of saw what they were doing, our guys settled in, and it wasn't about points or shots, it was about making the right play. And we just kept preaching that in the huddle, and our guys was able to do that. But defensively, was able to lock in, get physical, get closer to guys, and that was able to slow them down a little bit because they do run a lot of good stuff.
There was Coach Lue post game. More from Coach Lue.
Defensive Player of the Year candidates before. What makes you Defensive Zubac?
Ooh, La Murray asking him about Big Zoo for DPOY.
You've been around Defensive Player of the Year candidates before. What makes Defensive Zubac that kind of player this year?
Just protecting the paint, being that anchor, back line of the defense, and then also just doing different coverages. Sometimes we have him switching, sometimes we have him blitzing, up the touch, deep drop. So he's smart. He's very smart, and the different things we're trying to do on the court, from a 5-man standpoint, he's great at picking those things up and carrying out those commands. And so, Zoo, like I said, is getting better and better every year. He adds something different to his game, but defensively, he's always been really good for us.
Kawhi's scored at least 20 in every game except that Kings game where he hit the buzzer beater. Like, besides just playing more and the rhythm part, what have you seen from him this month that perhaps you didn't see in January and February?
No, just getting healthy. I think trusting it, understanding he can play and go all out without feeling any pain or any swelling, and just taking a minute to get back in the flow of the game. He's been out for 7-8 months, and so for him to come back and do what he's doing now, we knew he would get to this level, and when he did, we're a totally different team. And you can see that right now.
And finally, for me, just all your starters were at least a plus 28 tonight. I asked you before the game about what you liked about the fit of that 5-man group. What did you see tonight that just is telling you that group is progressing again?
Getting better. Like I said, just understand we got a lot of weapons on the floor in that starting unit. So guys just have to be patient, just play the game the right way, and everybody's going to eat. And so that's what we're preaching. And for Norm to do what he did, 2/3 of the season, with Kawhi being out and lead his team in scoring, being so efficient, and then getting hurt. Now he's starting to come back and find his rhythm. But That can't be forgotten, what he's done for this team over the course of the season. And so it's huge for us. And we know, like I said, we got a scoring threat at Norm. We know now Zu's a scoring threat. Kawhi and James, of course, scoring threats. And so, going into the playoffs or, going into this, final stretch, we just got to continue to keep playing the right way, continue to hit open man, and everything else will take care of itself.
There was Coach Lue post game last night. Yeah, look, Ivica Zubac should be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. He's not going to win it. Maybe next year he'll really be in the conversation. Usually takes 1 year too long to win awards or to make it onto, an all-defensive team. Usually you put people on notice that first year, and then the next year they're thinking about you heading into the season, and that helps your case. I think that's what we'll see. But Big Zoo is going to make an all-defensive team. I am confident in that. Here was Big Zoo post-game last night.
First off, you're the longest tenured player on this team. What does it mean to you that this franchise has finished 14 straight years with a winning record? Y'all clinched a winning record for the season tonight.
It meant a lot. Remember when I got to the Clippers, people didn't expect much from us that year when I got traded. And started there, we proved a lot of people wrong. Had a winning season, got into the playoffs when people So, ever since there, since then, we always had a good team, and it shows that the ownership, Steve, the front office are doing a really good job. Better every year, it's very competitive. And, even that season where Kawhi and PG were hurt, we still had a winning season. So it shows a lot, about front office and ownership putting teams together and coaching. We have really good coaching that's getting the max out of the players. So it shows the team. I think this team is run properly.
I mean, guys, to have 14 straight winning seasons, longest active streak in the NBA, it does say a lot about from the top down, from Steve Ballmer to the front office, to the coaching staff, to the players. They have been consistently well run for a long period of time. You can say they haven't reached the top of the mountain. We talked about that earlier. Kawhi spoke about that with, unfortunately, injuries. But they've been in the mix. It is night and day, the difference between this organization with Steve Ballmer as opposed to BB before Ballmer. You can say what you want about not winning the Larry O.B. yet, but it's really awesome to see this consistent level of just competence in the organization for a very long time now.
Then my only question, man, I know you don't like to brag about yourself, but if you were to make a case for you to be not just All-NBA Defensive Player of the Year, from your experience playing this season, the feedback that you have gotten from your teammates, coaches, and even the guys that you're facing, what would be your case for based off of what you're feeling and what you've heard?
Case for what? For
Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, man, I don't know. We have one of the best defenses all year. I don't know. I don't want to talk about myself. I think we have a bunch of great defenders on this team. Coaches who, are really committed every night to the scouting other teams and preparing us. And just guys listening to the coverages, being locked in, and it just shows, it's not just one guy. It's everyone. And it will be a great honor to be Defensive Player of the Year, but we're worried about, being the best team we can be, both ends on the floor, and being ready for the playoffs.
Anything else you want to add about this trip?
We're starting it off good. 2 more games. Let's try to go on the field and go home and try to win every game we can.
Vita Zubac's post game there. Awesome question from Bob Murray. Free TV, who I gave a timeout to last night because he realized how foolish he was in here for a long time, saying Kawhi's done, trade him. I mean, he would just spam relentlessly. And he's mad at me for giving him a timeout. It's like, you flooded with messages here for a long time saying that the Clippers were better without Kawhi. And you think it's going to be all good? There's consequences, my man. You got to own it. Come on now. So I thought this was interesting from Terry, saying he checked a few days ago on the odds for winning Defensive Player of the Year, and Zoo had the 6th best odds. I don't think they've changed drastically over the last couple of days. The players in front of him: Draymond. Let's see, Golden State Warriors. They're behind the Clippers in the standings. They're behind the Clippers in defensive rating by, I think, a significant margin. They're a couple points worse. Clippers are 3rd in defensive rating. Golden State 7th. I think Ivica Zubac has a case over Draymond. You can make the argument Draymond guards more positions, but, there's a lot of politics that are involved. And Draymond, he's won a Defensive Player of the Year before. So he's going to get the edge over Ivica Zubac. Evan Mobley, he's been great all season long. Zubac bodied him in that last matchup and was, I think, the better defender and better player in that game. Doesn't mean Evan Mobley hasn't had a better season defensively, and they are 8th defensively. Clippers are 3rd. I think Zubac has a case, but he's another guy who's more multiple with his defense, and that's going in Evan Mobley's favor. Dyson Daniels, I got to see Atlanta Hawks on-off splits. I want to see how much better they are with him on the court than off defensively, because they're not a good defensive team. The Atlanta Hawks are 17th, but that doesn't mean they aren't much better when he's on the floor. So they're 3 points better per 100 possessions. Actually, says they're worse. When he's on the floor, Dyson Daniels with the Atlanta Hawks, they have a defensive rating of 114.5. When he's off the floor, they have a defensive rating of 111.2. Now, he's played a ton of minutes, and he's playing next to Trae Young, and they might be much worse when he's off the floor and Trae Young is on the floor defensively. But that doesn't bode well to me. I'm sorry. What is your impact defensively? Is he really having the impact he should to be in the discussion, to be the Defensive Player of the Year? I know how good he is, was leading the league in steals, but they're 17th defensively, and the numbers say they're actually better with him off the floor. Okay. Triple J, former Defensive Player of the Year winner. The Memphis Grizzlies have a defensive rating that is behind the Clippers. They're 11th in defensive rating. I think Ivica Zubac has a case over him. He does guard more guys. He's better on the perimeter. Same type of thing with Draymond and Mobley. Lue Dort, wing defender, guards more positions, and they do have the best defensive rating in the league, the OKC Thunder. So I think you can make a pretty clear argument for Lue Dort. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Zoo having the 6th best odds? Free TV completely just misconstrued my argument about why Batum didn't play heavy minutes in the game against OKC. Because they weren't worried about defense. They were worried about offense. They held OKC to 103 points. It was just a matchup thing. That's not some big picture view of Nico Batum and how good he's been for this team. It was a one-game thing. They were looking for more offense against OKC. So they were playing guys who offered more on that end. Some of you are saying you blocked free TV and Bastion. I know a lot of you have. Deck Fantastic saying enough is enough. Bonesaw wants to hear this soundbite from Clay Vaughn.
Getting strong now.
Like, numbers are useless in Dyson Daniels' case. I don't know, man. I know he's good. I know he's a very good defender. And I know there's some bad defenders on that team. I'm just saying, if you're not impacting winning with your defense that much, I think it's somewhat of a problem. Free TV said, nah, I've owned what I said about them being better without Kawhi. And he kept saying that for a long time. You keep rubbing it in and making sure I own it. I explained why I said it. It was because we had a short stretch where we did seem better without him. It seemed true. It seemed true that the Clippers were better without Kawhi. Again, the level that you spam the message board over and over again, just saying, well, I've owned it. Maybe spam by saying I was wrong over and over again. Equal it out. And I won't give you so much crap for it. But it is an all-time bad take to think the Clippers are better without Kawhi. I know you weren't the only one that was being reactionary or reflexive with, oh, look, they're better without Kawhi. I know you weren't the only one, but anybody doing that came in here is going to hear it. I tried to give you the numbers, how much better they were with Kawhi on the floor. You didn't want to listen. Bonesaw said free TV, more like paid TV. He's paying for his crimes against Kawhi now. I think you could make the argument that Ivica Zubac could be in the top 3 and not with the 6th best odds of winning Defensive Player of the Year. Mobley got cooked by Harden and Kawhi in that game. Yeah, Triple J hasn't had a great defensive season. This is part of the reason I wanted Memphis in the first round like a month ago. It's because I don't think he's been that great this season. I know he was an all-star. I know he's good. I just, matchup-wise, I think the Clippers match up really well against Triple J. So maybe I'm a little bit biased against him just because the Clippers have looked so good against him, and Ivica Zubac has looked so good against him, and I haven't watched all of their games. Bastion said, congrats for blocking me. Hang the banner. That's kind of funny. Bastion's just a troll. I've asked him to call in so many times. He won't. Saying he would cook everybody if he called in. Some people just watch ESPN and repeat. Yeah, but guys who vote on it shouldn't do that. They should be watching full games when it comes to Defensive Player of the Year in any voting aspect. If you have a vote, you better make it count. There's plenty of excellent perimeter defenders who don't impact winning. Well, they shouldn't be up for Defensive Player of the Year voting then. That's the difference. Dyson Daniels is. And he's not really impacting winning that much from what I'm seeing. There may be some numbers out there that prove me wrong. I was going off on-off splits and giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's on the court with some really bad defenders, and maybe that's why they're actually better with him off the floor defensively. So that's what the numbers say. I just don't know if I can put enough into a team that has the 17th best defensive rating and saying that there's a guy there worthy of Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sorry. Mark Jagg said the Clippers are playoff focus. The regular season is just them getting ramped up. Stevie Daniels asked me, has your job impacted the way you watch and engage with hoop? Is it less fun because it's not pure hobby pleasure? Honestly, I enjoy it more now. It's only enhanced things for me. Like, I love the game more and more by the day. I'm total hoop head. Ray said, Justin Russo, a basketball sicko. Ray said, Justin Russo confirmed that Kawhi's three-pointer with 2.4 seconds remaining in the second quarter is the longest made in his career at just about 34 feet out. That's awesome. Okay, free TV is straight up lying now. I didn't say it for a long time, was saying the Clippers were better without Kawhi. I literally said it once. There is a difference between saying blow it up and the Clippers are better without Kawhi. I said the Clippers are better without Kawhi once. Guys, they did not say it once. That is cap. Most of you said I was wrong about Patty Mills. Mark Jagg said just give it to Rudy Gobert again. Bass and Schweinsteiger saying can't call from Canada doesn't work is also cap. There's a way to call from Canada to the U.S. Come on. Figure it out, bro. Andy said, what do you think Clippers do about Amir? Had a tough stretch defensively, but overall has been good for the Clippers. Do they keep him or let him walk so they can spend the mid-level exception again this season? Well, based upon the messaging from Coach Lue and what we heard from La Murray about this subject just a little bit earlier, I think there's a good chance Amir moves on, gets paid more. Clippers go a different direction. But, I mean, he was a guy that was actually traded at one point to bring in Malcolm Brogdon in a 3-team trade. Free TV is still going on, trying to defend his case for why he wasn't that hateful about Kawhi and wasn't that wrong. I said blow it up several times and trade Kawhi several times, while so-called Kawhi supporters said he has no value, like Jonathan Ng. That's actually hating on why to say he has no trade value. There's nuance there, and Free TV apparently doesn't want to understand it. Bastian said you're using team's defensive rating to justify his case for Defensive Player of the Year. He's not a 7-foot rim protector. He can only have so much impact defensively. You're making my point. If he can only have so much, then should he be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year? I would have at least expected his on-off splits to favor him being on the court and Atlanta being better defensively when he's on the court versus off the court, but it is, in fact, the opposite. They're better technically when Dyson Daniels is off the court. That's kind of crazy. Mark Jagg said that that's the case for Dunn right now. If he's so bad on offense as you all say, how good is he on defense? Like, his defense does make up for his offense. Jonathan Ng fires back at Free TV. Kawhi's trade value is really low because of his contract length and injury history. Bonesaw said, Free TV backing out like a casual. Bastian Schweinsteiger said, I will show you my call log immediately. No one believes you, man. ZTV said, speaking of Batum, how would you feel about him starting with Kawhi and Zoo, or should Coach Lue or should Coach Ty continue to use small ball starting lineups? I still think it's going to be matchup dependent. If they draw the right team, if they draw Denver, I could see Nico starting. Stevie Daniels said, do you think teams overvalue future picks because GMs can sell owners on the unknown future? People cite OKC, but they got SGA via trade. Nuggets, greatest pick ever with Joker. Not exactly scalable. I have to run to the bathroom. I don't think they overvalue future picks because the CBA now is more restrictive than it was. So picks are even more important than ever. But
I'm going to once again play the Law Murray audio from yesterday as I run to the bathroom because more people are asking about Amir Coffey and what's going to happen. So here's that answer for you. I'll be right back. What would you say to somebody who's scratching their head and wondering why a guy who is shooting 41% from three on the season in Amir Coffey is the odd man out?
It's comes down to he's guy 10 in a 9-man rotation. It's like, who else are you going to take out? If you look at the Clippers roster and look at everybody who's played more than 12 minutes per game, as of right now, all of them have a positive plus minus, except for the guys who are no longer on the team or the guys who are no longer in the rotation. And Amir is in that latter group. He did not have a positive plus minus considering the minutes that he was playing. Now you got 9 guys who all have positive plus minuses from their time with the Clippers this season. It's not even about Amir Coffey. It's about he's behind 9 guys.
Is part of this also, I mean, when they're healthy, what Amir provides is some scoring out there. He can get in transition, but he doesn't necessarily offer a ton else. And if they're healthy, they got plenty of guys who can score. Meanwhile, Bogey, even if he's not scoring, he can still help create.
Exactly. Like, Amir is a player who you gotta be considerate of who he's guarding. You have to be considerate of who he's on the floor because he's not a creator. He's obviously a decent creator for a guy who is a 5th option per se. He can hit the 3, but he doesn't generate his own shot as well. Like, he has his comfort areas on the floor, that pull up elbow midi per se, the fade in the paint. He's a damn good player. If he's your 10th guy, he's a damn good 10th guy. That's why Tyronn Lue said after the game Wednesday night that dude's going to get paid this offseason. I don't anticipate that the Clippers are going to be the team to pay him. So we talk about context to these things. I know people might have seen, the quotes hanging around. Maybe they shared the video or whatever. Like, Amir is probably going to start Sunday. It's probably because a bunch of these dudes, well, not a bunch. I don't want to overstate it, but we know that it's a back-to-back, and we know who doesn't play on back-to-backs. Someone's going to start. Someone's going to play. So, yeah, I think you need to prepare for Sunday being an early game after a flight. They're not leaving until Saturday afternoon to go to Cleveland. That means that guys are going to try and take care of this business in Barclays Center, and then they're going to enjoy New York because they ain't in a rush to get out of here. They're going to get on a flight, and the dudes who they're not counting on playing ain't going to be playing Sunday. They're going to get their rest and chill and then get ready for Monday night, full squad in Orlando. Adam, you can clip that one off. So, I think that's
How'd you know?
I think that's what's going to be what's important. Amir, in this current situation, he's guy 10 in a 9-man rotation. When guys are missing time, Amir's still going to play and be asked to play as well as, he's expected to play. And when it comes to this offseason, he's a free agent on a team that, as you see, is pretty damn deep right now. Amir, congratulations. Go get your bag, more than likely. You always got a home here. You're always going to be appreciative, but your value probably will be increased somewhere else as opposed to here. Maybe that's getting ahead of ourselves a little much, but y'all, hey, T. Lue said it, not me.
Law Murray there, deflecting. Appreciate Law. Follow him on Blueski now. Clippers in Cleveland tomorrow. Before we get out of here, people are asking if Batum starts, what would be the starting lineup against Denver? It would be, I think, James, Norm, Kawhi, Batum, Ivica Zubac. If Batum starts. Norm, actually, if you go back to that first game against Denver in Denver this season where Norm went off and had, what did he have in the fourth quarter when he kicked their ass, as Mike Malone said? 22? Norm had some good defensive possessions against Jamal Murray. Again, you're prioritizing there having another guy that you can throw at Nico. But it's possible they don't have Nico out there because they just say, well, Zubac's going to be matched up against Jokic every time.
The point is to have another guy throw at Jokic, to have Nico out there in the starting lineup. And I don't think that's totally off the table. But it could be an in-series adjustment as it goes along. They could start with their usual, with Chris Dunn out there, and then go away from it. I think he could start, Mark. I don't know if that's for sure. All right, free TV is still fixated on this. We can let it go, free TV. I'm not timeouting you. You're okay. You've learned. You've apologized. Look, the type of apology I was looking for was like the one from Happy Gilmore. That's the type of apology that I think was necessary after all the smack you talked about Kawhi. Like that's what I wanted from you. It didn't happen. Maybe I shouldn't have been expecting it, but this is what I needed from you.
You're smart. I'm stupid. You're smart. I was wrong. You were right. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're very good looking. I'm not attractive.
All right. As long as you're willing to admit that now. Are you ready?
I could have been like Carl Weathers there, RIP. All right. As long as you're willing to admit that now, free TV. Any other questions here? Yeah, mechanics gets it. See if they can make Denver adjust to them, sort of thing. Before we get out of here, I just want to touch upon the last 12 games where the Clippers have won 10 of them. Their offensive rating over this time is second best in the league. So how meaningful is that? Who are the other teams over the last 12 games with some of the top offensive ratings? Well, Boston has the best. Behind the Clippers in third is Minnesota, then OKC. Teams you would expect. Minnesota is a little bit surprising, but no, they've been playing well. They're 9-3 over this stretch, last 12 games. Clippers 10-2, Boston 11-1, Oklahoma City 11-1, their last 12. San Antonio's 5-7, their last 12, but have an offensive rating of 120.6. The problem is their defensive rating is 122.9. So that doesn't match. Phoenix has been playing better on offense, but their defensive rating's still bad. They're 6th in the last 12 games. Houston, this is a little bit surprising to me and a little bit scary. They have an offensive rating of 120.3 their last 12 games. They're 7th. Detroit, they're 8th. Atlanta, 9th. 10th. Chicago, that's a little bit surprising. But they have had some big games, and they just went 11 of 14 in the fourth quarter from 3, including a half-court shot to beat the Lakers. So does it line up with what you have seen as of late? The Clippers having the second best offense their last 12 games. You look at the other teams that are in the mix, it lines up overall. What about defensively? Last 12 games. Clippers third best defense. Okay, who's number 1? Oklahoma City. Last 12 games. Best defense all season. Raptors are number 2. That's an interesting one. Rockets are number 4. Okay. Golden State's number 5. Okay. The Knicks, number 6. They have been good defensively for a good month now. Indiana, 7th. Minnesota, 8th. 9th, Orlando. Good defensive team. 10th, Detroit. So it makes sense. So net rating-wise, last 12 games, Clippers with the second best net rating in the league, only behind Oklahoma City. Next to them is Boston. After that, Minnesota, then Houston, then Detroit, then Indiana, Chicago, Golden State. Atlanta's been playing well, I guess. 10th best net rating last 12 games. The Clippers are playing well. For those who don't like style of play with the Clippers sometimes, I just want to point this out. With their offensive rating being that good the last 12 games, where they're 10-2, they've actually been playing at a slower pace. They're 25th. Pace is just style. It doesn't tell you, oh, we're a faster paced team. That means we're better. No, that's not it. Rebounding wise, Clippers 9th last 12 games in rebounding percentage.
They are 10th in defensive rebounding percentage. And as they have been all year, they're just 27th in offensive rebounding percentage. They've never been great there. But some broad picture numbers there. Just wanted to get that in. Free TV. Wow. The apology is out. It's not as good as the Happy Gilmore, but I'll take the $2.
I'm stupid. You're smart. I was wrong. You were right. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're very good looking. I'm not attractive.
All right. As long as you're willing to admit that now.
Thanks, Free TV. We're all just having fun here. Ray says, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Are we back to that? Trying to get me on tongue twisters? Tongue twister, tongue twister, tongue twister, tongue twister, tongue twister. Yes, we need a bigger sample size. But 12 games is not nothing. Houston is a problem. Houston, we have a problem. But I think I'd rather play them over the Lakers and over Denver. So, lastly, before we get out of here, so I can watch March Madness and watch the Lakers game. The Lakers are taking on Memphis. Well, that's a game of consequence. They have the very same record. I guess the Lakers have the tiebreaker currently because they're in the 4 spot, Memphis in the 5 spot. They're both 2 games ahead of the Clippers in the 6 spot. Who do you want to win that game tonight? I know typically it's anyone but the Lakers. I know. I feel the exact same way about that.
I hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers.
But is there some strategy here where you actually might want them to win? Is there any reason for that? Do the Clippers have a better chance of catching Memphis for the 5 spot than the Lakers? So, if you look at strength of schedule remaining, the Lakers have the 2nd toughest schedule. The Grizzlies have the 10th. So you could say and make the argument that maybe they have a better chance of catching the Lakers because they have the tougher schedule remaining, but they have the tiebreaker over the Clippers. The Clippers have the tiebreaker over Memphis. Then there's another part of this. Do you want to be in a 4-5 matchup against the Lakers? Meaning they beat Memphis, you catch Memphis in the standings, and you're taking on the Lakers in a 4-5. Would you rather get Denver in the 3-6, or maybe Houston drops down to being the 3 seed, and you get them in a 3-6 matchup? Because Houston has the 5th toughest schedule remaining, the Denver Nuggets the 6th. It's going to be close. They play each other the last game of the season. That could determine who is the number 2 seed and who is the 3 seed. Decca says, give Memphis the higher seed. What's the strategy there, Decca? You're hoping they'll end up in the 3 spot? The problem is they're 2 games behind Denver and 3.5 games behind Houston. I don't know if they can catch either of those teams. If you're thinking, let Memphis win and go on a run here and get the 3 spot so the Clippers could get them in that 3-6, I don't know if they'll be able to do that. But, I would love to see Memphis in the first round. Chris said, in a perfect world, we play 4-5 versus Memphis. I'm with you. I just don't know how likely that is. I get it, guys. You can look back from a show I did 2 weeks ago saying that you want Memphis. For them, you're saying you want to pass the Lakers. You guys seem to be saying the goal here is to pass the Lakers in the standings. The problem is they have the tiebreaker over the Clippers, but they do have the second toughest schedule remaining. They still have OKC twice, but is OKC going to be playing all their guys? Do they have anything to play for? Number 1 overall seed? I guess. They still have Houston twice. They have Memphis tonight. They have Golden State once. They also have a big game in Dallas where I expect Anthony Davis to be playing in Luka's return. Are you guys saying you want Memphis to win tonight in hopes that the Lakers drop below the Clippers? That Memphis takes the 4 spot and the Clippers get the 5 spot, jumping ahead of the Lakers? See, I think Memphis likely starts to play better after this coaching shakeup. Maybe not significantly, but better. Yawning Tears said, in order of first choice to last, I would prefer Memphis, then Denver, then Houston, then the Lakers, because a loss to them is unbearable. I agree with you there. Legend said, in the playoffs, we need Harden averaging 20. Okay, different subject. I don't necessarily disagree with those stat splits. Ray said, but really so much of the standings will depend on the last day of the season. Yeah, I'm just giving you an update. Mechanic said, I think Memphis, if it helps you pass the Lakers for 4 or 5, but the Grizz schedule is rough. It's not as rough as the Lakers schedule, though. But the Clippers have the tiebreaker over Memphis. They don't have it over the Lakers. They might have a better chance of passing Memphis if they slip up rather than passing the Lakers if they slip up. Some are just saying, hey, the goal is to avoid the play-in. Free TV with a bigger apology chat here with the super chat. Free TV is really trying to apologize right now.
I'm stupid. You're smart.
Lakers or Grizz could slip below us, so it's a win-win. But for personal hated purposes, I want the Lakers to lose, especially if it means them slipping below the Clippers. Anything is possible. West is bunched up, and close.
I hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers.
Decca said, Lakers have a 40-year-old star who still needs to rest before the playoffs. True. F said, all I know is the team is jacked. Wear the freshest clothes, eat at the chillest restaurants, and hang out with the hottest dudes. What is that in reference to? Chris said, yes. Lakers 6 seed. You're saying, let's try to pass the Lakers. Everybody wants Memphis in the first round, but how do you do it? Mark said, the league is going to step in, so passing the Grizzlies is more realistic. Access said, I'm rooting for Memphis. The Clippers should be able to win the division. You're thinking tiebreakers now? Joe said, I hate the matchup chasing. Let's just beat whoever's in our way. But we're talking about who do you want to win tonight between Memphis and the Lakers?
I hate the Lakers.
Mechanic said, yep, but you're right. OKC could play a big part whether they want the Lakers in their bracket or not. Holo Dolo said, I think we need either Memphis or the Lakers to drop to the play-in because Wolves and Warriors are way too close to us. Meanwhile, Lakers and Grizz have a fairly rough schedule. Yeah, let's look at the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves because the T-Wolves have the easiest schedule remaining, 26th. They're playing teams with a winning percentage of .430. They only have the Knicks, the Bucks left. They have games against the Jazz, the Nets, the Sixers, Portland, 2 against the Magic. Those aren't necessarily easy. I don't think the Dallas Mavericks games are going to be easy anymore for the Clippers next weekend if AD is back. Then Golden State. They still have a tougher schedule than the Clippers remaining. 11th toughest left. Clippers 13th. Those two will have a say. Mechanic said, pack div champs. Hang the banner. I don't like that joke. Who do we want to win tonight? I have a hard time ever rooting for the Lakers.
I hate the Lakers.
If the Clippers could somehow pass them in the standings, That would be ideal. I might have to root for that. And just in case Memphis got rolling and took the 3 seed and the Clippers end up at 6th, I might have to root for Memphis tonight, guys. I might just have to do it. I'm sorry, Lakers.
I hate the Lakers.
Not sorry. Clippers are 2 games back of them. The question is, who's going to be available for the Cavaliers tomorrow? They have been resting guys. That's the other part of this. While Kawhi is out for the Clippers, the Cavs have been doing some strategy resting. Ty Jerome is ruled out for tomorrow's game. Jalen Tyson is out. That's it. They're going to play Mobley, Garland, Spida. I think Jared Allen's trying to play all 82 games, be an Iron Man. Jonathan says, I think Dallas does not make it out of the plan, but you have them in the plan. Phoenix just, their schedule is the toughest remaining, and they have bad losses still. They can't get it together. Someone's super scared of Anthony Edwards here. I'm more afraid of Ant and the T-Wolves, and he beat Jokic and Durant last playoffs. Well, they don't win that series without Karl Anthony Towns. Just so you know. Cat did work in that series. Yeah, if Donovan Mitchell doesn't play tomorrow, the Clippers could still win. Ghost says they're not going to rest anyone major. They're trying to get their lick back. Oh, free TV. More apologies?
I was wrong. You were right.
Clippers need to win as many games as possible, all of them if possible. No one is saying lose any games on purpose. That's not matchup chasing. There is nothing wrong with rooting for certain results. Damn, I agree with free TV there. Maddox said, can the Clippers beat the Cavs tomorrow without Kawhi? Well, depends on who the Cavs are playing. Kaylee said if the Pistons can beat the Cavs without Cade, the Cavs are still beatable without Kawhi. It's going to be very tough, though. Agree. Access saying go Memphis. F saying Zoo about to prove he is who we say he is. Ray said they want to get a win against us after we helped send them into a losing spiral. We did. Somebody else beat them before, though. I think it was Orlando, and the Clippers gave them that second loss, and then what was a 4-game losing streak for them. Mark Jag said, can they? Yes. Will they? Maybe. Six Ab said, bro, it's not even a question. Memphis should win. So we're all rooting for Memphis tonight. It's settled.
I hate the Lakers.
Mechanic said Kings getting smacked by Orlando right now. It might be a Phoenix and Dallas 9-10. Yeah, the Kings could still fall out. I miss Legend Super Chat? What Super Chat did I miss? Oh, I did. Legend, thank you. Where do I rank Harden all time if he gets a ring? Man, that'd be a great discussion. Try top 20. Depends on how it happens. I always apply the context to it. Hello Dolo said, appreciate the super chat, Legend. Hello Dolo said, I do not trust Randall in the playoffs. I know we lost to the Wolves this season, but 2 of those games we sold away. This is a different team with healthy Kawhi. I do not fear the Wolves. I don't fear them as much as I feared them last year. What's the score in that Magic Kings game? No, I think Magic are a problem. When they hit shots, their defense is usually there. It's if their offense shows up. If they're hitting shots, they'll beat you. Or at least they can. Free TV is scared of Anthony Edwards too. I'm not scared of him. Like, he's a problem. I'm just, last year's team I think was better. But yeah, Ant is a problem. You'd have Harden third all-time shooting guard. So
behind Kobe, MJ. What about Jerry West? What about D Wade? I know West played a lot of point guard. Ray said Ant needs to be put in his place. I want Kawhi to go Claminator against him. I would like that too.
Yes, sir.
Would Kawhi like that?
Yes, sir.
I like Ant though. I like his attitude. Without Cat, he can get pressured with tactical double teams. Oh my God, this King score. 89-57. Yeah, they might fall out. The Kings are currently a half game up on Dallas. Kings in the 9th spot, Dallas in the 10th. And Phoenix is a game behind Dallas in the 11th. Kings could fall out. I told them they don't get it. They don't understand how to build a team there. It's not just, obviously, a lot of people would say that about Sacramento, but some of the people there, Carmichael Dave has never understood it. Like, when are you guys going to realize that Sabonis might be part of the problem? How do you build a top 10 defense with Sabonis there? Yes, Maddox, it could be Clippers versus Nuggets, or Clippers versus Lakers, or Clippers versus Houston. Those are the two most likely, or three most likely teams they could be playing. Mark, yes, they should be worried about the Magic. Chris said, as bad as the Suns are, I would not want to play Durant in a single game eliminator. Me neither. Especially with our history with the Suns. Yes. Worst case scenario. Yeah, you don't want to get in the 7-8, lose, then have to win a game just to play OKC in the first round, and the team you're playing to get out of the play-in is Phoenix. Yeah, the Kings could get by because the Suns have the toughest schedule left. And they might just, I don't know, they've looked like they've quit at times this season. They're already talking about trading KD in the offseason. F said, I think this Magic defense is actually amazing. Technically have a slightly better defensive rating than us still. Yeah, Magic defense is great. It's just about if they show up on offense. Mark Jag said Zach LaVine and Malik Monk is the same player. Not exactly. LaVine's better, but there are some similarities. 6Ab said Cavs are 5-5 their last 10 games. They're a little bit shaky. They've also not been playing their full squad. Perfect opportunity to play them without Kawhi. Well, that's what we're going to see. All right, guys. I'm going to head out. Appreciate y'all. This has been another edition of Clippers Talk. 176 straight days. That's how many we've had. And I hope most of them have been...
Not too bad, I hope.
Have been...
Not too bad, I hope.
I think we've done some decent shows here. I thought it was fun having two callers on. Go after each other. And Yawning Tears and Jonathan Ng. It was civil. Kept it cordial. It was nice. Good conversation. We could do more of that stuff moving forward. So, seems like the consensus is we're all rooting for Memphis tonight.
I hate the Lakers.
Go Grizzlies. I'm Adam Osland. We'll talk to you guys back here at 11:30 tomorrow. Clippers in Cleveland without Kawhi taking on the Cavaliers. Appreciate the super chats. We had some fun here. Terry thought it was a great show, at least. Talk to you guys mañana.
I hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers.